My boyfriend of 3 years told me I was too ugly to be his plus one at his best friend's wedding. He said I'd embarrass him in front of his family. Little did he know, I had my own invitation to that same wedding. What happened next changed everything forever. Before we dive into this story that will shock you to your core, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Trust me, you won't want to miss how this unfolds. And stick around until the end. The twist will leave you speechless. You know that moment when someone you love says something so cruel that it feels like they've punched you right in the stomach? Well, that's exactly what happened to me 3 months ago, and I'm still recovering from it. But here's the thing. Sometimes the worst moments in our lives lead to the best discoveries about ourselves. Let me start from the beginning. I had been dating Tom for 3 years. 3 whole years of what I thought was a loving, committed relationship. We lived together, we talked about our future, and I genuinely believed this man loved me for who I was. Sure, I wasn't a supermodel, but I thought that didn't matter to him. I thought he saw something in me that went beyond my appearance. How wrong I was. It all started on a Tuesday evening in March. Tom came home from work looking excited about something. He was holding this fancy cream-colored envelope in his hands, and he had this huge grin on his face. "Babe, you'll never guess what just came in the mail," he said, waving the envelope around like it was a winning lottery ticket. I was curious, so I asked him what it was. He opened it up and pulled out this beautiful wedding invitation with gold lettering and everything. "Jake is getting married," he announced. Jake was his best friend from college, the guy he always talked about but who I had never actually met. Tom was practically bouncing with excitement as he read through the invitation details. "The wedding is in 2 months," he said, "and it's going to be this huge, fancy affair. Jake's family has money, and they're pulling out all the stops. This is going to be incredible." He kept going on and on about how excited he was, how he couldn't wait to see all his old college friends, how his parents would be there since they knew Jake's family, and how it was going to be the event of the year. Naturally, I assumed I would be going with him. We had been together for 3 years, after all. We were practically common law, married at that point. So I started getting excited too, thinking about what dress I might wear and how fun it would be to meet all his friends and family in a celebration setting. But then Tom got quiet, really quiet, and that's when I should have known something was wrong. I asked him when he wanted to go shopping for our outfits, and he just stared at me with this blank expression. "Our outfits?" he repeated, like I had just suggested we rob a bank or something. "Yeah," I said, starting to feel a weird knot forming in my stomach. "For the wedding." "When do you want to go shopping?" That's when he said it, the words that would haunt me for weeks and ultimately change the entire course of my life. He looked me dead in the eye and said, "Rachel, I don't think you should come to this wedding." I was confused. I thought maybe there was some kind of restriction on plus ones or something. "Why not?" I asked. "Is it a small wedding? Are they not allowing guests to bring dates?" Tom shifted uncomfortably and wouldn't meet my eyes. "No, it's not that," he said. "It's just, this is a really important event for me. My whole family is going to be there, all my college friends, people I haven't seen in years. I need to make a good impression." I still didn't understand what he was getting at. "Okay, so what does that have to do with me?" And then he said the words that shattered my heart into a million pieces. He looked at me with this expression that was half pity, half disgust, and said, "Rachel, let's be honest here. You're not exactly wedding material. I mean, look at yourself. Do you really think you'd fit in at an event like this? These are sophisticated people. My family has standards. I can't show up with someone who looks like you." I felt like I had been slapped. Actually, a slap might have hurt less. This was the man I had been planning a future with, the man I cooked dinner for every night, the man I had supported through his job changes and family drama. And he was telling me I was too ugly to be seen with him in public. "What do you mean, someone who looks like me?" I asked, though part of me already knew I didn't want to hear the answer. Tom sighed like I was being difficult. "Come on, Rachel. You know what I mean. You're not exactly a head-turner. You're average. And that's fine for day-to-day stuff, but this wedding is going to have photographers, and there's going to be social media, and people are going to judge me based on who I bring. I just think it would be better if I went alone and told everyone I'm single right now." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. This man wanted to pretend I didn't exist, so he wouldn't be embarrassed by my appearance. He wanted to lie to his friends and family and act like our 3-year relationship meant nothing. "So you're ashamed of me," I said, and it wasn't a question. "It's not about being ashamed," he replied, though we both knew that's exactly what it was about. "It's about being practical. This wedding could be good for my career. Jake's dad owns a company, and there are going to be a lot of important people there. I need to present the right image." I felt tears starting to form, but I was determined not to cry in front of him. "And I'm not the right image. Look, Rachel, I'm just being honest here. Most guys wouldn't even tell their girlfriend the truth like this. They'd just make up some excuse. But I respect you enough to be direct with you." Respect? He thought he was showing me respect by telling me I was too ugly to be his date. The audacity of this man was beyond anything I had ever experienced. I went to bed that night feeling lower than I had ever felt in my entire life. I stared at myself in the bathroom mirror for probably an hour, picking apart every feature, wondering if he was right. Was I really that unattractive? Had I been deluding myself all these years? For the next week, I could barely function. I kept replaying his words in my head, and they seemed to get crueler each time I remembered them. Tom, meanwhile, acted like nothing had happened. He went about his normal routine, chatting about his day, asking me what was for dinner, complaining about his boss. It was like he hadn't just destroyed my self-esteem with a few casual sentences. But then something happened that changed everything. I was checking the mail on the following Friday when I saw an envelope with my name on it. Not Tom's name, not our names together, just mine. It was the same cream-colored paper as Jake's wedding invitation, with the same fancy gold lettering. My hands were shaking as I opened it, because I had a feeling I knew what it was, but I couldn't quite believe it. And there it was, a wedding invitation addressed specifically to me, Rachel Thompson, requesting the pleasure of my company at the marriage of Jake Peterson and Anna Martinez. Anna Martinez. The name rang a bell, and then it hit me like a lightning bolt. Anna Martinez was Annie, my college roommate and one of my closest friends from university. We had lost touch over the years after graduation, but we had been inseparable during our 4 years at school. She was getting married to Jake, Tom's best friend, and she had invited me to her wedding. I sat there staring at that invitation for probably 20 minutes, my mind racing. Tom had no idea that I knew his future sister-in-law. He had no idea that I had my own connection to this wedding, completely separate from him. He thought he could just leave me at home while he went off to celebrate, but I had every right to be there. The more I thought about it, the angrier I got. Not just angry, furious. This man had made me feel like I was too hideous to be seen in public. Meanwhile, the bride herself considered me worthy of an invitation. Annie wouldn't have invited me if she thought I would somehow ruin her special day. That's when I made a decision that would change my life forever. I was going to that wedding, and I was going to look absolutely stunning while doing it. I didn't tell Tom about the invitation. I let him continue planning to go alone while I secretly made my own plans. The first thing I did was call Annie. I was nervous about reaching out after so many years, but she answered on the second ring and squealed with excitement when she heard my voice. "Rachel! Oh my God, I can't believe it's really you. I'm so glad you called. I wasn't sure if you'd gotten the invitation. I tried to find you on social media, but you're not very active." We talked for over an hour, catching up on everything that had happened in our lives since college. She told me about how she met Jake, how they had been together for 2 years, and how excited she was about the wedding. I told her about my job and my life, though I conveniently left out the details about Tom. "I'm so excited you're coming to the wedding," Annie said. "Jake has told me so much about his college friends, and I can't wait to meet everyone. It's going to be such a fun night." "I wouldn't miss it for the world," I told her, and I meant every word. After I hung up with Annie, I went into full preparation mode. I had exactly 6 weeks to transform myself, not because I thought I was ugly, but because I wanted to walk into that wedding looking like the confident, beautiful woman I knew I was deep down inside. First stop was the mall. I went to every department store and tried on dozens of dresses until I found the perfect one. It was a deep emerald green that brought out my eyes, with a fitted bodice and a flowing skirt that made me feel like a princess. It was more expensive than anything I had ever bought for myself, but I didn't care. This was an investment in my future self-esteem. Next was the salon. I made appointments for hair, makeup, and even got my nails done for the first time in years. The stylist suggested some highlights that would brighten my complexion, and I said yes to everything. I was tired of playing it safe and blending into the background. Throughout all of this preparation, Tom continued to plan for the wedding as if I didn't exist. He bought a new suit, got his hair cut, and talked constantly about how much fun he was going to have seeing everyone. He even practiced the story he was going to tell people about why he was single. "I'm just focusing on my career right now," he would say to himself in the mirror. "I'm not really looking for anything serious at the moment." It made me sick to my stomach, but it also strengthened my resolve. The night before the wedding, I told Tom I was going to visit my sister for the weekend. He barely looked up from his phone when I said it. "Okay, have fun," he mumbled. "I'll probably be out late tomorrow night, so don't wait up." Don't wait up, like I was some kind of roommate instead of his girlfriend of 3 years. The morning of the wedding, I went to the salon bright and early. The transformation was incredible. My hair was styled in elegant waves, my makeup was flawless, and when I put on that green dress and looked at myself in the mirror, I barely recognized the woman staring back at me. For the first time in weeks, I felt beautiful. Not just pretty or acceptable, but genuinely, radiantly beautiful. And more importantly, I felt strong. The wedding was being held at this gorgeous venue about an hour outside the city. As I drove there, I'll admit I was nervous. Part of me was terrified about what would happen when Tom saw me. But a bigger part of me was excited to show him exactly what he was ashamed of. I arrived at the venue and immediately spotted Tom's car in the parking lot. My heart was pounding as I walked up to the entrance, but I kept my head high and my shoulders back. I was done hiding. The ceremony was beautiful, and I managed to slip in and sit in the back without Tom noticing me. I watched as Annie walked down the aisle looking absolutely radiant, and I felt so happy for her. This was her special day, and I was honored to be there to witness it. But the real moment of truth came at the reception. I walked into the reception hall, which was decorated with fairy lights and flowers, and looked like something out of a fairy tale. There was a cocktail hour happening, and people were mingling and laughing and having a great time. I grabbed a glass of champagne and started looking around for Annie so I could congratulate her. That's when I saw him. Tom was standing near the bar with a group of guys who I assumed were his college friends. He was laughing at something someone had said, looking completely relaxed and happy. His parents were there too, and I recognized them from pictures he had shown me. I took a deep breath and started walking in their direction. I wasn't trying to sneak up on him or cause a scene. I just wanted to get to the other side of the room where I had spotted Annie. But then one of Tom's friends noticed me walking by and said, "Wow, who is that gorgeous woman?" Tom turned around to see who his friend was talking about, and the look on his face when he saw me was something I will never forget for as long as I live. His mouth literally fell open, and all the color drained from his face. He looked like he had seen a ghost. "Rachel," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. What are you doing here?" Before I could answer, I heard someone calling my name from across the room.